Hello and welcome. My name is Yoel Molina, the president, founder, and owner of the law office Yoel Molina. Today we're going to talk about the tips and issues regarding small businesses when we're talking about essential concepts that small businesses need to master. In other words, we call this business law simplified, issues simplified, legal matters simplified, whatever term you want to use. But basically, as a small business corporate attorney, my job here today is to teach you about certain things that small business owners tend to overlook and try to explain in a way they understand it. Today specifically, we'll talk about contracts. Many business owners think because of their size that contracts are not something for them. They think because they're not the Apples and the Googles of the world, the McDonald's of the world, that contracts are irrelevant to them. And unfortunately, based on my experience, they're not important to them until they are. They become an issue when problem arises with employees, your landlord, your clients, your business partners, your vendors. All these individuals need to understand clearly what your expectation is of them, and they should understand clearly what their expectations are of them. They have of you. In other words, your expectation each way should be clear. Contracts are important because they provide several benefits. And I'm going to go through 2 or 3 right now that really exemplify why they're important. And I already hit on one of them, expectations, but another expectation is clarity. Unless you have a spelled out written contract, a lot of it's going to be up in the air, such as payment plans, rights to terminate, rights to expectation as to delivery, expectation as to acceptance of delivery, equality, specifications. These type of things, if not left up in the air or not dealt with in a straightforward fashion, what ends up happening is that it's a higher risk that someone is going to be disappointed, if not outright upset, in how the contract develops. Contract gives you legal protection. It gives you a chance and opportunity to mitigate the risk of a deal going south, mitigate the risk of the deal ending up in court. It allows you to put things in place so that if the deal goes where it shouldn't go and it goes in a fashion that you don't like, you at least have an expectation and a way to plan out a termination, plan out a default, or how to deal with a default or termination. And you're not caught off surprise. And then from a business perspective and a marketing perspective, it allows a certain level of professionalism. Anyone you're dealing with, know that they're dealing with someone serious, someone who expects things done the right way and the proper way. Working off a simple invoice or receipt in a text message doesn't get the same connotation of a simple, straightforward contract that spells out how everyone should behave in reference to the contract and it spells out the promises that everyone has. Let me give you an example of a client I had from a few years back. I call him Manuel to protect his privacy, and it's not really solely based on Manuel, but Manuel and a couple other clients have merged together to kind of give an example of what can happen. Manuel, who was a second generation entrepreneur, first generation American, a strong background in entrepreneurship, ran a public relations firm, and it was growing, it was scaling. He dealt with companies of all sizes in the legal, medical, construction industry. His job was to make sure he helped these individuals manage their image, manage their persona, wherever it may be, get them in the proper places and in front of the right people so they can grow their brand, grow their business and their stature in the related industries and communities. The issue here, however, was Manuel got this one client, a client that many people dream of, a client that if it would have went through fruition, would have been an excellent payday. The contract was worth about, if I remember correctly, about 70 to 80 grand or so, $70,000 to $80,000. The individual came through a referral from someone else. They had lunch. They had cafecito. They're in Miami, so everybody has to have cafecito. And then they had a handshake agreement, and my client began to work. My client began to put assets in place, draw plans, draw marketing, draw team meetings, start putting these people and putting his client in front of the right people, putting him at different events, putting their brand and logos at different events. But something went wrong after a second or third event with money still pending and most of it uncollected. The client canceled it. Didn't really give a clear reason. Didn't really give a good explanation. However, it was canceled. My client had out-of-pocket expenses, not to mention his time and his reputation with the people who he had. He had some promises, some of them contractually himself, related to this, his client that terminated, which he was left on the hook for. He was distraught. He was upset. He was pissed off. But it's simple. What went wrong here is nothing was ever put in writing. There was nothing in writing here that spoke to the ability to terminate, recoupment of expenses, a minimum term of contract, pay-as-you-go terms, payment up front, all these different things that a contract would have been in place, Manuel never would have been burned. Manuel, this first generation American aspiring entrepreneur, was put in a position, last time I spoke, that he was having serious doubt if he can get from up underneath all this debt and lost expenses, unreimbursed expenses, should I say, that he incurred. I hadn't spoke to him in a while, but Manuel has, the last time I spoke, he came in to speak to me. He was referred to me by my client. I gave him my honest opinion. Like yes, you can sue. There's a lot of expenses involved in suing. However, if he were to sue, there wouldn't be any guarantee he could recoup legal fees. So now he has to come out of pocket on legal fees. There's no expectations or guarantee that he'll even win. So he could possibly spend this money, go after these individuals and it's going to be to a point, except for the minimal email exchanges and text messages, it's going to be primarily a situation of his word versus client's word. And obviously everybody's going to spin it to a way that most favors them without the benefit of anything clearly in writing to support them and without any guarantees that money will be recouped in any situation. So this right here is a tale that oftentimes many entrepreneurs suffer. The excitement, the opportunity, as business people, businesswoman, businessman, they see the opportunity, they want to go. However, this is not the way anybody should ever approach a business deal, especially when there's a lot of assets, expenses, revenue, profit at stake. Everything should be clearly done in writing. Your business may be small, but your impact and the consequences can be immense, enormous, if you will, if it goes wrong. You've worked so hard to get here that giving yourself anything other than, the opportunity to protect yourself, simply ridiculous, is ludicrous. Simply, you can get a contract that you can, from an attorney like myself, and reuse it. Get some basic terms in there. Get some basic protections in there. There's no reason why you can't protect yourself. There's no good reason at all. The attorneys are accessible through video cameras, through 24-hour appointment links. You can educate yourself with tons of online materials, but there's no real reason to put yourself in this situation. In the case of Manuel, though, we can simply point to many things that went wrong here. We already mentioned he didn't get anything in writing. The obligation on both sides were not clear. Like no one clearly didn't define what was to be done, how it was supposed to be handled. The commitment period was not defined. How and when my client was going to get paid, which obviously at the end of the day, no matter how much you love your passion and your work, this is what you're working for, was not clearly defined anywhere. There were no terminology defined in writing as to when either side can cancel and how any pending obligations or dispute are to be resolved. This is crucial in any agreement. People, personal and business, ecosystem, economy, if you will, changes. They can be high in the hog in January, but by February, be barely treading water. You should always have an opportunity on both sides to figure out a way to get out of an agreement, or at least try to negotiate that. And then how do you resolve pending deals, situations, if a dispute should arise or cancellation should happen? This is basic. And again, consult an attorney, consult someone like myself. I do it through a referral. Talk to your CPA, your financial advisor. Talk to a lawyer that you're friends with from your kids' little league team, a lawyer that a buddy of yours that went to law school, and if they don't do it, ask if they can refer you to someone that does this. But go off Google reviews, whatever it may be, but speak to an attorney that does this day in and day out, and have them draft for you a sound agreement. Many lawyers will do it. It's not terribly expensive. It is better. The cost of trying to recoup your money because you didn't want to incur the expense of attorney, it's going to be far outweighs the benefit of spending the money of having an attorney draft a contract for you. You can, depending on your industry, it could be fairly inexpensive, a few $100s, maybe a couple thousand, but given your profit margin and your risk, it is going to be well worth it in most cases. You understand, obviously, that if you forego this need of a contract, you forego this ability to protect yourself, you can risk finding yourself just like one, losing valuable time, resources, and money, losing the ability to insist that you get paid for your services, and getting a chance that you fail to negotiate the opportunity that if you are in litigation, if you are in court, you can get paid for your legal services. If something goes wrong, you get not for your legal services, for your legal costs, excuse me, the legal costs that you have to expend to recoup your legal services. So make sure that you protect yourself. Learn from the mistakes of people like Manuel, people like him. Understand that this can be you. This can happen to you. Don't think, oh, well, it's never going to happen to me. It's going to happen to you. And the risk of it's going to happen to you is great. And what's going to happen to you is that the odds are, if you are a transactional business, or even a business that we deal with people on a retainer basis or on a frequent basis, some point in time, someone's going to have a disagreement about your bills. And if you don't have everything in writing, you're going to regret it. So give yourself the peace of mind. Get yourself a contract. Get yourself a document, an agreement, an engagement letter that lets everybody who's dealing business with you, business partners, vendors, clients, landlords, tenants, whoever you're doing business with, there should be an agreement in place between both of you that clearly explains what you expect to one another, reference goods, services, cancellation, payment terms, everything we spoke about. Trust me, it's good to have that peace of mind. I want to thank you for taking time to listen to my educational podcast, if you will, on small businesses and contracts. Let me know if I can be of assistance to you. I'm easy to find on the web. My name is Yoel Molina, Yoel Molina with a Y. That's yoelmolina.com. You can reach me at admin@molaoffice.com. That's ADMIN @OLAW office.com. Or you can reach us in the office at 305-548-5020 and select option 1. We're here to help you. We're We like to say we are the most accessible, transparent law firm that you'll ever deal with. Everything is with transparency and clear, straightforward communication. If you have any questions, no problem offering you a free consultation to understand what your needs are. But until then, love to talk to you. Love to hear from you in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, follow us, and let us know what you think. Have a great day.